What's up, y'all? It's your boy Evan, and here's my picks for week 11 of the NFL season. With each week, there's more and more on the line as the playoffs inch closer and closer and ever so closer. So let's see what the NFL's 11th week has in store for us. As always, we start with Thursday Night Football. This time, it's the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Patriots come in 8-2, first in the AFC East and the 3 seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they'd play Buffalo in the first round. New England's coming off a 28-23 win in Tampa Bay. As for the Jets, they're 2-7, last in the AFC East, off a 27-20 win over the Browns. This is the 133rd all-time meeting between the Patriots and Jets, making it the most played matchup on the Week 11 slate. New England leads the series 75-56 with one tie. Last time they met, October 27, 2024, a 25-22 Patriot victory in New England, and New England is a 12.5-point favorite. Whenever Boston and New York get together, it ain't nothing but bad blood. The Jets were the last team to win a game, but they got their second one rather quickly. Plus, New York has the chance to play spoiler, and as the Raiders showed last week, that statement has some viability to it. Now, as for the Patriots, they are a well-oiled machine. Hard to pin down an area that New England doesn't do well as they try to claim their first AFC East title in the post-Brady era. That's all I gotta say. Give me New England over New York. And now we head out to Madrid for El Clásico. The Miami Dolphins doing the tango with the Washington Commanders. Dolphins come in 3-7, third in the AFC East off a 30-13 win over the Bills. Commanders 3-7, third in the NFC East off a 44-22 loss against the Lions. This is the 17th time the Dolphins and Commanders are meeting on the gridiron. Miami leads the series 10-6. Last time they met, December 3rd, 2023, a 45-15 Dolphin victory in Washington, and Miami is a 2.5-point favorite. I believe the Spanish have a word for these two. Basura. The Commanders had high expectations going into this year. They were supposed to compete for a playoff spot, the NFC East, and maybe the Super Bowl, but an endless supply of injuries and subpar defense has the Commanders calling it in for 2025. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are desperately trying to hold on to relevance. They beat the Bills last week, but is that a sign of a playoff push or just a mirage? Somebody has to win, so give me Washington over Miami. Now we begin the early window with an AFC North showdown between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Steelers come in 5-4, first in the AFC North and the 4 seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they'd play LA in the first round. Pittsburgh's coming off a 25-10 loss in LA, weirdly enough. And as for the Bengals, they're 3-6, third in the AFC North. If the season ended today, they'd miss the playoffs. Cincinnati is coming off a bye. This is the 113th chapter in the Steelers-Bengals rivalry. Pittsburgh leads the series 71-41. Last time they met, October 16th, a 33-31 Bengal victory in Cincinnati. Bengals have won 2 in a row in this series, but Pittsburgh is a 5.5-point favorite. Let's have a look at the rematch, shall we? For the Bengals, it hasn't been going well on the whole, but they do have 2 things to look forward to. Joe Burrow is trending closer and closer to a return, and teams are 12-6 coming off a bye like Cincinnati is. Now, as for the Steelers, the pressure is on. What once was a secure lead in the AFC North has shrunk to just a single game with the hard-charging Ravens right on their tail. Steelers need a win, so I'm thinking put the brooms away. Pittsburgh gets the dub over Cincinnati. Now we head on down to North Florida where the Jacksonville Jaguars battle the Los Angeles Chargers. Jaguars 5-4, second in the AFC South and the 7th seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they played Denver in the first round. Jacksonville's coming off a 36-29 loss in Houston. Now on the other hand, the Chargers 7-3, second in the AFC West, the 5 seed in the AFC. They play Pittsburgh as of today. LA's coming off a 25-10 win, funnily enough, over the Steelers. This is just the 15th time the Jaguars and Chargers are linking up. LA leads the series 9-5, but last time they met, the wild card round, January 14, 2023, a 31-30 Jaguar victory in Jacksonville. Jaguars have won 2 in a row in this series, but LA is a 2.5-point favorite. I assume Chargers fans have heard more than enough about their last trip to Jacksonville, so I won't harp too much more on it. What I will say is that this year's Chargers team is in the hottest division race in football. LA even has a couple edges here with a head-to-head win over the Broncos and a quarterback that just might be in the MVP race. Now, the Jaguars have reasons to be happy, too. Jacksonville is holding the 7th seed, but vibes may not be as high with Travis Hunter's recent injury. This game is going to have playoff vibes, but I feel like I got to go with the home team here. Give me Jacksonville over LA. But now we move on up to the shores of the Niagara, where the Buffalo Bills go toe-to-toe and blow for blow with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bills 6-3, second in the AFC East and the sixth seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they play New England in the first round. Buffalo's coming off a 30-13 loss in Miami. Now the Buccaneers, on the other hand, 6-3, first in the NFC South and the fourth seed in the NFC. They'd get LA as of today. Tampa Bay's coming off a 28-23 loss against the Patriots. This is the 14th all-time meeting between the Bills and Buccaneers, making it tied for the least played matchup on the Week 11 slate. Tampa Bay leads the series 8-5. Last time they met, October 26, 2023, a 24-18 Bill victory in Buffalo, and Buffalo is a 5.5-point favorite. The Money Bowl. Get it? Because Bills and Bucks are both words for money. Yeah, you get it. You get it. The Bucks are in need of a bounce back after falling to Brady's first love last week. However, Baker's keeping steady in the MVP race, and Tampa might be starting to get healthy again. Meanwhile, for the Bills, it's been an up and down year. One week, they look like they could challenge for the Super Bowl, and the next, well, they lose to the Dolphins. Still, though, siding with the home team here, give me Buffalo over Tampa Bay. And now from the Falls, we go to the land of 10,000 lakes, where the Minnesota Vikings go to war with an old foe, the Chicago Bears. Vikings 4-5, last in the NFC North off a 27-19 loss against the Ravens. Bears 6-3, second in the NFC North and the sixth seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they play Detroit in the first round. Chicago's coming off a 24-20 win over the Giants. This is the 130th grudge match between the Vikings and Bears. Minnesota leads the series 69-58 with two ties. Last time they met, September 8th, a 27-24 Viking victory in Chicago. Vikings have won 3 in a row against the Bears, and Minnesota is a 3.5-point favorite. Nothing like a good old-fashioned Midwest rivalry. The Bears have found their stride. Chicago had a scare against the Giants last week, but they have roared into a playoff spot, and good luck getting them out of it. The Vikings haven't had a lot go right lately. It seems like just when they patch one leak, another one springs right up. Bears just look more confident, so give me Chicago over Minnesota. But now we're headed to the Music City for a dust-up between the Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Titans 1-8, last in the AFC South off a bye. Texans 4-5, third in the AFC South off a 36-29 win over the Jaguars. This is the 48th meeting between these rivals, Titans and Texans. Tennessee leads the series 24-23. Last time they met, September 28th, a 26-0 Texan victory in Houston. Texans have won 2 in a row in this series, and Houston is a 6.5-point favorite. Houston past versus Houston present. The Texans are humming like a fine-tuned engine. Houston's trying to overcome a disastrous start to the season and get to the playoffs, and now the 7th seed is in their sights. The Titans, on the other hand, well, they know what this is. Tennessee has no hope left for this year, but they are well rested and have a chance to play spoiler. Teams in that role can be dangerous. That said, the Texans are just too hot right now, so brooms out in Nashville. Houston beats Tennessee. But now we're rolling on down to the dirty South, where the Atlanta Falcons throw down with the Carolina Panthers. Falcons 3-6, third in the NFC South off a 31-25 overtime loss against Indianapolis out in Berlin, Germany. Panthers 5-5, second in the NFC South off a 17-7 loss against the Saints. These rivals, Falcons and Panthers, squaring off for the 62nd time. Atlanta leads the series 37-24. Last time they met, September 21st, a 30-0 Panther victory in Charlotte. Panthers have won 2 in a row in this series, but Atlanta is a 3.5-point favorite. Both teams asking one question: what happened? For the Panthers, they got such a big win at Lambeau, and then they follow it up with a lackluster performance against the Saints. How good is this team? They'll need to figure that out soon before the season gets away from them. This season may have already gotten away from the Falcons, a team that showed much promise in September, slowly faded away in October, and now the clock is ticking. Gotta pick a winner here, so I'll say brooms out in Atlanta. Carolina sweeps the Falcons. Now it's time to take a bite of the Big Apple and watch the New York Giants welcome in the Green Bay Packers. Giants 2-8, last in the NFC East off a 24-20 loss in Chicago. Packers 5-3-1, third in the NFC North. The NFC's 7 seed. They'd play Seattle as of today in the first round. Green Bay's coming off a 10-7 loss against the Eagles. This is the 65th time the Giants and Packers are facing off. Green Bay leads the series 34-28 with 2 ties. Last time they met, December 11, 2023, a 24-22 Giant victory in New York. Giants have won 2 in a row in this series, but Green Bay is a 7.5-point favorite. Once upon a time, this was a legendary playoff matchup. As for the 2025 version, the Packers desperately need a win to stop the bleeding. The last couple weeks haven't been kind to the Pack, and now they find themselves on the fringes of the playoff picture. That exact situation is where the Giants thought they might be a month ago, but after a levee of injuries, New York is now limping to the barn. I feel like this one's a close game, but I'm going to go with Green Bay over New York. Now we start the late window with a battle for the NFC West. The Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Rams come in 7-2, tied for first in the NFC West and the 5 seed in the NFC. As of today, they play Tampa Bay in the first round. LA's coming off a 42-26 win in San Francisco. As for the Seahawks, 7-2, the other half of that tie for first, and they're the 2 seed in the NFC. They get Green Bay as of today. Seattle's coming off a 44-22 win over the Cardinals. This is the 56th chapter in the Rams-Seahawks rivalry. Seattle has a slim lead in the series, 28-27. Last time they met, January 5th, a 30-25 Seahawk victory in LA, but LA is a 3.5-point favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, the game of the week. The Seahawks are looking like a Super Bowl team. An MVP candidate at quarterback, a dangerous receiving core, and a defense that might just rival the Legion of Boom. The Rams are no slouch in their own right. After all, these two have the same record, and Matthew Stafford is out to prove he's got one last run in the tank. This one's going to go a long way, and it could go either way, but I'm going to go with LA over Seattle. But now let's keep it in the NFC West and head over to the desert, where the Arizona Cardinals duke it out with the San Francisco 49ers. Cardinals 3-6, last in the NFC West off a 44-22 loss in Seattle. 49ers 6-4, third in the NFC West off a 42-26 loss against the Rams. This is the 69th grudge match between the Cardinals and Niners. San Francisco leads the series 37-31. Last time they met, September 21st, a 16-15 49er victory in San Francisco, and San Francisco is a 2.5-point favorite. And now for the other NFC West matchup. The Niners are an injury-riddled team, and it might just be catching up to them. This week in the desert, it's do or die for the visitors from the Bay. The Cardinals may have run out of pixie dust in Seattle. However, Arizona has a chance to play spoiler here, and teams like that can be quite tricky to deal with. I'm smelling upset here, so give me Arizona over San Francisco. And now we march on up to the shores of Lake Erie, where the Cleveland Browns go to battle with the Baltimore Ravens. Browns 2-7, last in the AFC North off a 27-20 loss in New York. Ravens 4-5, second in the AFC North off a 27-19 win in Minnesota. This is the 54th time these rivals, Browns and Ravens, throwing down. Baltimore leads the series 38-15. Last time they met, September 14th, a 41-17 Raven victory in Baltimore. Ravens have won 2 in a row in this series, and Baltimore is an 8.5-point favorite. One team made it out the mud, and the other is the mud. The Ravens were once last place in the AFC North, but right when all seemed lost, they put together a good game, then another, and then another. As for the Browns, the highlight of their year was not being last in the North. Let's put it like that. However, Cleveland did manage to spring the upset the last time the Ravens came to town. That said, I don't see that happening twice in a row. Brooms out in Cleveland. Baltimore sweeps the Browns. Now we head out to the Mile High for a game where the stakes might be a mile high. The Denver Broncos taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Broncos 8-2, first in the AFC West and the 2 seed in the AFC. If the season ended today, they played Jacksonville in the first round. Denver's coming off a 10-7 win over the Raiders. Chiefs 5-4, third in the AFC West off a bye. This is the 131st time the Broncos and Chiefs are crossing paths. Kansas City leads the series 73-57. Last time they met, January 5th, a 38-0 Bronco victory in Denver, but Kansas City is a 3.5-point favorite. Does anyone else find it weird that last week started and ended with 10-7 games? The Chiefs are coming off a bye, and they know this could be their last chance to stake their claim in the AFC West. Kansas City has, for the most part, looked like their usual Chiefs selves, and Andy Reid is pretty good after a bye. That said, the Broncos got a win over the Chiefs last year, and they want more now that they feel it can be done. Add on to that, teams are 11-5 following a Thursday night game, so the home team has that going for them too. Broncos have a chance to make a statement, and I think they take it. Give me Denver over Kansas City. And now it's time for Sunday Night Football in the city of brotherly love as the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Detroit Lions. Eagles come in 7-2, first in the NFC East and the 1 seed in the NFC. If the season ended today, they'd have a bye in the first round. Philadelphia is coming off a 10-7 win in Green Bay. As for the Lions, they're 6-3, first in the NFC North and the NFC's 3 seed. They get Chicago as of today. Detroit's coming off a 44-22 win in Washington. This is the 37th showdown between the Eagles and Lions. Philadelphia leads the series 18-16 with 2 ties. Last time they met, September 11, 2022, a 38-35 Eagle victory in Detroit. Eagles have won 2 in a row in this series, and Philadelphia is a 2.5-point favorite. A battle for the NFC's top seed. Like their namesake, the Lions are roaring. Detroit just picked up a soul-healing win in Washington, and now they show no signs of slowing down. The Eagles are equally hot, if not more so. Philly's offense was nothing to write home about last week, but their defense stole the show. I feel like this one's going to come down to the last possession, and I'm going to go with Detroit over Philadelphia. And finally, it's out to Sin City for Monday Night Football. The Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Raiders come in 2-7, last in the AFC West off a 10-7 loss in Denver. Cowboys 3-5-1, second in the NFC East off a bye. This is the 14th all-time meeting between the Raiders and Cowboys, making it tied for the least played matchup on the Week 11 slate. Vegas leads the series 7-6. Last time they met, November 25th, 2021, a 36-33 Raider victory in overtime in Dallas, but Dallas is a 3.5-point favorite. After all that excitement, this is how we close out the week. The Cowboys had a full week to rest and recoup for whatever the rest of the season is. Be it a playoff chase or anything else, I guess we'll just see where the road goes with these guys. The Raiders are a lot easier to pin down. They're rebuilding. Win or lose, all that matters in Nevada is draft positioning. Cowboys, I guess, are still playing for something, so give me Dallas over Vegas. Do you agree with my picks? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me get to 5,000 subs. And until next time, I'm the voice of Evan. Peace.